So we are having a major shift in tone for this movie from the last two. The last two we had a really crazy slapsticky comedy, and then we also had a really crazy slapsticky kids movie. And now we have Dangerous Minds, which is anything but. Maybe a little bit crazy just because of everything that happens in the film, but definitely no tee-hee ha-ha moments in it whatsoever. Admittedly, I was skeptical about this one because it's based on a true story, or at least an autobiography, and those tend to be really hit or miss with me, and this one felt, after reading the back cover, because again, I go into these as blind as possible if I haven't seen them, this one felt extremely heavy and was like, okay, cool, so this is gonna be a ride, and it was indeed. But before we get into what a ride it was, let's go ahead and get the box office stats and a recap of the plot. With a budget of $23 million, Dangerous Minds generated an overall domestic revenue of $84,919,401 at the box office. This movie was, however, beat in monthly earnings by last month's 1995 winner, Waterworld. While Dangerous Minds brought in $49,564,986 its first month in office, Waterworld made $59,426,117 its second month. If you haven't watched Dangerous Minds, or it's been some time since you have, this movie is based off of an autobiography written by ex-Marine Luann Johnson called My Posse Don't Do Homework, and is the story of her experience in her first year of teaching. After applying for a student teaching position at Carlmont High School, Luann is accepted on the spot as a full-time teacher, as her predecessor quit and the substitutes before her had all followed suit. Her second period class, the ones behind the vacancies, are a bunch of teens from a racially segregated and economically deprived neighborhood who are involved in even more crappy situations, from broken families to straight-up gang warfare and drug dealing. Naturally, none of them want to give her the time of day either, but she ends up cracking their give-no-dams shells and turns them into capable students willing to learn by the end of the film. Now on to the opinions.
Because I make a choice to care, and honey, the money ain't that good.
When this movie first came out, it had extremely mixed reviews. And this was after they spent an entire year reworking this film after a super disastrous first test screening. Like, the vast majority of the audience left. Only 10 people stayed behind in theater to actually finish this film. And yet it was still super mixed whenever it was released. It did well enough because it's in the series, but I could see why it got such mixed reviews, because I also have mixed feelings about this. I feel like after a year reworking this thing, they ended up playing it very safe, or a lot safer. Like, the entire film felt very contrived, we're having to cover a whole bunch of topics, a whole bunch of difficult interactions with students from horrible backgrounds. So we're having to be very careful and definitely look 15 times before we leap, if you will. Normally, if a movie is an adaptation from a book, I like to try to read the book before I go watch the movie to see if the book is a loose inspiration for the film, or if the film is trying to do whatever the book is verbatim. In this one, I definitely wish that I had read the autobiography, My Posse Don't Do Homework, by Luann Johnson. I would have liked to see the base materials, the base inspiration for this, because a lot of this, it felt too much like the uber inspirational teacher guru kind of movie. I would have liked to see how this movie measured up to it. Did it take a whole bunch of creative liberties? Kind of like, oh, this is based on a true story, but they definitely expanded upon it, right? They added a whole bunch of embellishments onto it, and it's a little bit too over the top. Like, sometimes those movies will work, other times it's like, all right, this can't be entirely true, or if the main content is true, it's just a little bit too over the top. And this one felt like, if it wasn't pushing the over-the-top boundary, like if it wasn't completely over the top, it felt like it was definitely pushing it. So I wish I'd read the book beforehand. The other thing about this film was, after reading the synopsis or the plot on the back of the cover, I was like, did this have a remake? like an early 2000s remake, mid 2000s remake, because I think I've seen this film before. I recognize the plot, but I don't remember Michelle Pfeiffer being in it. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Luann Johnson, but no, it was Freedom Riders by Hilary Swank, which also is what made me wonder if this film was entirely true, entirely accurate. So in Dangerous Minds, you have Luann Johnson as an English teacher in the quote-unquote academy class, which is all of the troubled students that just wreak havoc and don't want to be there, right? Well, that's the same thing in Freedom Riders, where the teacher, Erin Gruel, is also an English teacher in that class for teachers, for kids that don't want to be there, don't want to learn. Freedom Riders was also based off of the biography, The Freedom Riders Diary by Erin Gruel. She's an actual human being, along with the contents of her student's diary. So again, English teacher for troubled high school students, biography, autobiography, even down to like being in California. Dangerous Minds was based in Carlmont High School in Belmont, California, and then Freedom Riders was based in Woodrow Wilson High School in Long Beach, California. So there were so many parallels between these two movies that I really believed that Freedom Riders was a remake of this movie. There's a scene, there's a couple of scenes in it too. We have one of the female students in Freedom Riders. She ends up going to like an AP dual credit class because she's doing so well in, I guess, the regular class, but then ends up coming back to Erin Gruel's class because she likes her so much. In Dangerous Minds, we have another female student who ends up leaving the school entirely, in this case because she's pregnant, but ends up coming back just in time to prevent her from being kicked out of school because she wants to be there with Luann Johnson. There's another scene in Freedom Riders where one of Erin Gruel's students has like a gun in the courtyard and he looks like he's gonna shoot someone and he locks eyes with Erin Gruel and then flees, right? And then in Dangerous Minds, we have one of Luann Johnson's students who is like, I'm on the run because I quote unquote took someone's girl. I didn't, but he's still obsessed with her. He's gonna kill me, but not if I kill him first. Even though it's off screen, this kid actually does end up getting shot and killed, even after Luann Johnson has tried to give him safe harbor in her own home. Those are the two that really stuck out to me and again made me want to read this book, My Posse Don't Do Homework, and also makes me want to go read The Freedom Riders Diary. I really want to do a deep dive. I really want to go down the rabbit hole, but oh, not to mention that both like Erin Gruel and Luann Johnson, both of them are like, I'm gonna bring in material from outside of the school. I'm going to throw all of my money into these kids' education because our schools won't pay for it. I'm like, okay, so either California in this time period needs to get their shit together. You get what I'm saying? It's too similar. It's uncanny how similar these are, but steering away from Freedom Riders because this episode isn't about that. It was just okay. Michelle Pfeiffer, again, she's supposed to play an ex-Marine. She didn't really come off as an ex-Marine type. She just seems like Michelle Pfeiffer to me. The principal really, really irritated me in this. It's established earlier in the film that he has a thing with knocking on doors. Later on, when Michelle Pfeiffer, whenever Luann is like, hey, student that's worried about getting shot, you need to go turn in this kid for using substances on campus. Not that he's going to kill you, because I know they probably won't take you seriously, because none of the staff, it's very clear in the film that none of the staff will give these kids the time of day, because why would you? They're all screaming over one another and constantly getting into fights, and they're just the troubled kids, right? I kind of get it, but it also like really, really sucks. It's just, it's that vicious cycle, right? Where nobody wins, but the kid that ends up getting shot, he gets turned away by the principal, played by Courtney B. Vance, because he doesn't knock on the door, because why would he? He just does whatever the hell he wants to do, and he's also worried about his life. His life is literally on the line, and of course they end up finding the kid later that morning. That was probably the most frustrating scene in the film for me. Vice Principal Nichols, played by Robin Bartlett, essentially scammed Luann into taking the job. So Luann's friend Hal Griffith, played by George Zunza, ends up saying, hey, there's a student teaching position, that's what you have left, and then you can go apply to be like a teacher elsewhere. She's like, cool, I'm gonna go in and apply. So Luann goes to meet with the Vice Principal Nichols, basically is like, oh yeah, so the people before you left, we're on it's short notice, so we'd be able to hire you on and get you like, you know, emergency certified, and it's no big deal, and here would be your pay, and yeah, let's get you in there. And doesn't say anything. She just says that these are the academy students. She doesn't say, hey, these are the very volatile, troubled students. And her friend Hal, another teacher there that happens to have his classroom right across the hall, feels bad. He feels really bad that this is what's happening. He didn't realize that that's how things would go. And he's like, if you ever need me, I am literally just across the hall. And he seems like a great guy. But whenever she goes to actually ask for help, his tune changes really quickly. He goes from, yeah, ask for help if you ever need anything, to, yeah, screw you, you're on your own, you decided to do this, like, go teach. He just seems very abrasive. But after that, they're all buddy-buddy and just fine. I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, he did seem like a nice guy otherwise. It was just, I don't know if he was just fed up because he had to be teaching in this crazy school across the hall from these extra crazy students or what, but it was just very much made me kind of pause and be like, Hal? Mr. Griffith? Are you an okay dude or are you not? As far as me thinking that this was super contrived, it did seem very episodic. It was just very, 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 okay, all right, cool. Super fast, 5 to 10 minute student episodes, if you will, with no time to breathe. There wasn't a good natural flow to the story. It was like, all right, we hit this beat, we gotta hit the next one. Let's keep going, let's keep going. So yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that added to the mixed reviews. And I found out that there was supposed to be like a love interest thread for Luann that they just cut entirely. And honestly, I think that it was good that they cut it because it was just too much. It was so much. I think it would have just gotten super muddied and wouldn't have been executed as well as they needed it to be. I don't know if that was in the first test screening, but if it was probably a good call for them to yeet it out of there. There was a statement from one of the staff members that actually credits the song Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio as one of the key elements of the film's success. Like, the movie opens with this song, and I was like, oh, you know it's gonna be a good movie when the opening scene starts with Gangsta's Paradise. But then they literally play it at least 4, maybe a 5th time, and it just made me giggle more than anything because where are my Weird Al fans at? You know what I'm talking about. It was just an all right film. It was just an all right film with Gangsta's Paradise, and I wouldn't watch it again. Honestly, I would probably go watch Freedom Riders again. If I had to recommend one of the two. It's been a couple of years since I've watched Freedom Riders. It seems like the same damn thing. It seems like the same movie. It seems like the same books, the same biographies, auto or not auto. Dangerous Minds was just so-so. It's on my shelf now. Good for it. If you've seen Dangerous Minds, let me know your thoughts. I'm just curious to know where you guys stand in the mixed reviews. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Neutral thoughts? I'm here for it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time in 2005.